I've got a question for you. What is the hardest part about learning how to play high notes on the trumpet? Maybe for you, it's learning how to ascend and remain relaxed in your face and not just like pinch, squeeze, hope, and pray. Or maybe you feel that your face is just not cut out for it yet, or you haven't developed the requisite strength in your corners, in your face, your embouchure muscles, to have uh, the strength and the endurance and stamina to be able to play high. I used to think the same things that I just mentioned. But if I were to answer the question now of what makes it hard to learn how to play high notes, I have two responses. The first one is letting go of the idea that it takes more air to play high. This thought has sabotaged me and so many other trumpet players, I feel. And guess what? It makes sense because when we hear fabulous players like Wayne Bergeron playing blistering high A's and John Faddis playing blistering who knows what because it's way up there, and Roger Ingram and all of these amazing high note players, they're putting so much power through the instrument, right? When trumpet plays high, it's unlike any other instrument that plays high. And so it would make the most sense to think, oh, yeah, John Faddis, he's blowing down the house when he's playing those notes. Wayne Bergeron, he's aiming for the next county. And what I've learned about myself is that it's the opposite of that that's true. Only when I began learning how to control my upper register at a soft volume using a tiny amount of air was I able to gain control of those notes and eventually have them open up. If you think going into learning how to play high that it's supposed to be physically exhausting and demanding, then you've already attached in your mind that high notes equals hard work. Let me tell you something. I've had the great opportunity to sit right next to John Faddis on many, many different occasions over the years. And I guarantee you, all of the loud stuff that you hear him do, he has the control to be able to do that at a soft volume using very little air. So how did I begin the process of using less air in the upper register? Well, if you've watched any high note trumpet YouTube video, which of course we all have, you've heard the word compression. What does it mean when you compress something? When you compress a file, for example, you make it smaller. So when we talk about compression, and usually we're talking about the areas of the body like the abdomen, and we're usually talking about aperture size or tongue arch or what have you. And these are methods of compressing the air. But I like to use a different analogy. I like to use the analogy of straws and focus on the shape of the airstream and specifically the diameter of the airstream. So I've got a few straws. Don't do that. So I've got a few straws here. So here's a regular fast food straw that you would find at any fast food restaurant. And, take a look at the diameter. To me, this, and again, these are not exact measurements, okay? This is kind of what my low register airstream looks like. And I can move a decent amount of air through this. I mean, obviously, how much air can you actually move through the hole that's in your mouthpiece when you really think about it? But this is a good size straw. When I'm actually creating my low register embouchure, it probably looks something like this. Right? So you notice it's not even that big to play in the low register. Okay, well, what happens when I want to play in the middle register, like between maybe middle C to top of the staff G? Well, now I have another straw that's a little bit smaller than that previous straw. You see that? And so you see the size of the airstream is shrinking now. And immediately I feel more resistance, meaning I cannot blow as much air as I was in the other straw. What about if I want to get from G on top of the staff up to high C, high D, something like that? Well, look at this little straw. You can see it's much smaller than the previous straw. And this is just to symbolize the shape that the airstream is making when I play the trumpet and when I ascend on the trumpet. People, how much air can you fit through that? Not very much. And if you try to cram a bunch of air through here, what's going to happen? My eyes are going to bug out. I'm going to get this huge vein popping out of my forehead right here. My neck muscles are going to contort. All kinds of problems are going to start happening. What if I want to get up into the extreme upper register, into the double G, double A, double high C area? Well, I don't have a straw small enough, but I found this. This is the needle from an air pump to fill up your, basketball. Okay. In order for me to learn how to access double high G, double high A, all the way up to double C, I had to learn how to make my airstream this small. I probably shouldn't be doing that. This probably has lead in it. Oh, well. All right. So if we need to make the airstream change sizes, get slightly larger in diameter in the low register, and then get smaller in the upper register, how do we actually go about doing that? Well, again, I'm not speaking for everybody. I can only speak for myself. But this leads me to my second response to the question of why learning high notes is so difficult. And that is this. I have found that the key factors for learning range happen internally in the body. That means we can't see them. And this makes things difficult. When you see a piano player playing incorrectly, you can see their hands and you can correct them. You can correct things like posture. We can correct things like finger position and hand positioning. But how do you correct something you can't see? It's happening inside your body.